Angela's been here for a long time and remember playing this guy's records when they were brand new. It's been 24 years since he's put out new music, and he's here with us to talk about his new album, Traces, coming out October 5th. His new single, Erasing. The legendary voice is back. Steve Perry. Hey, mister.
Is this Mark?
It is.
Mark at 103.5 The Coast?
How are you?
I love this station.
Well, you are very, very kind, and I'm just thrilled that you selected to talk to me here at the station.
So, of course. I'm excited about it.
I've been, here for 30 years, and you've been such a huge part of it. So I got to tell you.
You guys, I listen to that station all the time when I'm in the LA area, and you guys always play my music that I've been involved with. It's like, I really thank you so much.
Oh, listen, can I ask a side question? How rich has that made you?
I do have my cards. I'll tell you that.
and he does. And every once in a while, there's Steve.
Yeah.
This brand new album, which is coming out October 5th, called Traces,
yes,
is the first song, No Racing. My wife and I have been listening to it nonstop since last night. And I just have to ask you, where has Steve Perry been hiding? Steve Perry!
Well, he was hiding for a while. He was definitely hiding for a while. I left the group years ago, because I was truly just burned out. And it's like a sponge. I had no juice. I was just wrung out, And it was not a popular thing that I felt I had to do, which was just to stop. I knew it would be upsetting to the fans. I knew it was going to be upsetting to the band. And it was going to be hard on me because I was living the dream of dreams. I was born and raised in the central San Joaquin Valley in a small town of Hanford, California, went to high school in Lemoore, California, and the dream of getting into the music business was about as easy as winning the lotto, which didn't even exist back then.
Right, that's true.
And so I got to live that dream. So to walk away from it, honestly, Mark, was almost insane. But I knew in my heart I just had to stop.
Steve, it makes me wonder, though, was it the music side or the business side? Because I hear a lot of stories when bands really get large and all of a sudden you've got all these people kind of in the mix, and it takes a lot of the creative juices right out of it and can ruin relationships within bands.
Boy, that's a good question. I'm not sure there is one fault area to point to, and nor do I really want to. I think the entire thing just kind of started to drain me in a way where my love for music, my passion for the music that I indulged in at 5, 6, 7 years old as a kid was starting to go away.
Yeah.
You see, I brought that into the band with me, and it really served me with my writing with the guys and everybody. We worked really hard, Mark. We toured harder than people do these days. Because back then, by the way, there was no internet. You had to just go out and go to every city over and over again, multiple times. And so I was just toasty, and I needed to stop.
Well, and I remember playing Journey records when they were first released, many Journey concerts that I attended, even going backstage and the meet and greets and everything going on. You were an incredibly hardworking band, and the creativity between you and Jonathan Cain and Neal Schon was amazing. Can you even explain a spark like that would create music that still 30 plus years later is as important to radio as it was when it was first released?
I just think that everybody was doing the best they could to come up with what we call timeless music. And we always used to say to each other that timeless music takes time. And so, especially back in the day when we were recording to tape, there was only one way to record these kind of records, and that was to go out there and play it till you get one that feels a little more timeless than the rest of them. And so that's the kind of way we record these records. And that has somehow been a focus that has stood the test of time. And that's all I can say. We're very fortunate, of course.
Well, I just read that Journey's Greatest Hits is now only the third album to ever spend 500 weeks on the Billboard album charts. Bob Marley and the Wailers, and of course Pink Floyd.
Right.
That's an incredible accomplishment and certainly speaks a lot about the band's talents. And you as a singer, I've read, other than Robert Plant, there is no singer in rock that can even come close to what Steve Perry has delivered
Mark,
to us.
that's not true.
Yeah. Okay, so who else then? Name them, Steve. Go ahead, name them.
Oh, there's great singers out there.
5-octave range, name them.
Well, I don't know if I have a 5-octave range anymore, Mark. I don't know. I have to wait and see.
Well, come on. I mean, you're 69 years old. Nobody can expect to keep it. Remember, youth is for the young. Steve Perry on the phone. His new album, Traces, coming out October 5th. His song, No Erasing. You're going to hear that coming up this hour on Coast 103.5 as we hang with just music legend. And let's talk about that voice. Have a listen. So how many memories come racing back when you hear all those great songs from a voice that Rolling Stone magazine has on their list of the top 100 vocalists of the rock era? Steve is here. He's not been heard from for about 24 years when it comes to new music. And there's good reason for it. Some of it we know, some of it we don't. But Steve, I understand a few years ago, film director Patty Jenkins, very, very talented, she directed Wonder Woman, introduced you to a woman by the name of Kellie Nash. She's a PhD in psychology who was bravely battling breast cancer, stage 4, when you met her. Over the next few years, your life forever changed by this experience. I know you fell deeply in love, and then you lost her in 2012. Part of this album is about that, and I can't even imagine what an emotional journey this has been for you.
Yeah, no, it has. I mean, the whole thing started when I met Kellie. I was pretty isolated, and I met Kellie Nash, and we fell in love, and there was a connection, and she was fighting for her life with stage 4 breast cancer when I met her, and she had already been doing that for 3 years, and I just couldn't stay away from her. We were so connected, and we were going to beat this thing. We're going to stick together, and that's one side of it, but then we're on the other side of it, and we really felt that no matter what happened, that it wouldn't affect our love. It couldn't take away our love for each other. And I think that's been the truth to this day, though I did lose her after I was with her for 1.5 years. So that being said, a couple of years went by, and at least almost 3 years, and with therapy and serious grieving issues, I finally started writing music because she'd asked me if something happened to her that I would not go back into isolation for her, would make this all for naught, as she said it. And I thought, goodness, I just want to hear this, but I made the promise that I wouldn't. And so I went back into my heart and worked the music out. And the album has happy songs, the album has rock songs, it has R&B songs, it has sad songs, it has no erasing, it's got everything.
We've got a lot to thank Kellie for. I mean, if that's her legacy, to bring you back out. And she honestly sounded like an amazing woman. And I think that God blesses us with people that do change our life. And
yeah, for sure.
She sounds like one of those for you. You had described yourself as kind of a recluse, and the fact that she was encouraging you to go out.
Yeah.
You've even said this hermit thing is overrated. Yesterday, when you would Google Steve Perry, you'd see, hey, something going on. And then there's really kind of nothing out there. It's like you're there, but you're kind of not there. Today, it's exploded. So will you stay with us and continue to bring us more music as the years progress?
Well, I'm going to do my very best to keep rolling these tracks because they're all so unique and so different. We're going to be rolling more songs to you all through the end of this year for sure, maybe into next. So this is just No Erasing is probably just the beginning.
Well, just listen. It's a great song. The video's on my blog, KOST1035.com. This is No Erasing, Steve Perry's brand new song from his album out October 5th called Traces here at Coast 103.5. No erasing. The song is Erasing, and that is Steve Perry, who is back. He's on the phone with us. I really, really enjoy the song, and the more I listen to it, the better. And then I'm looking at this artwork for the album Traces, and I understand that this represents everything in your life. There's the Golden Gate Bridge. We, of course, remember Lights, which you really wrote about LA, but, you know, gave it to San Francisco. I Hate You.
When I joined the band.
Yeah, that's right. But yet there's all kinds of other, a guitar in the front. Tell me the lady who's upside, the dancer who's on her back, what does that represent?
She's just a sexy girl who looks like she's loving the music from the record player that's behind her.
And just behind her, it looks like it's you. You're back to the viewer facing a theater.
Well, the theater is in my hometown of Hanford, California. That marquee is actually there. And if you look close to the marquee, it says, appearing Ray Perry's son. That's me. Because my dad did sing there one night years ago when he was there. And if you look to the right of that, there's a little house there, which is my old home I was raised in Hanford. And then you see that if you look really close, there's a little boy looking out the window trying to get out of there. There's so much.
Yeah, I look at the incredible mountain behind it, and I wonder, really, is that you? If I could be a psychologist, in a way, we're always in our own ways. Does that make sense?
Well, you know, we all got to do what we got to do to survive. You know, that's the problem. I mean, everybody can tell us what we need to do or what we should do, but you know what? Eventually, all of us have to find our own way that works for us. And sometimes it doesn't make people happy when you do that. As my old step-grandmother said, Steve, sometimes you have to take care of yourself, even if it hurts to do so.
You're a pretty remarkable man and an artist that many have admired for decades. And we're just grateful to have you back and to have new music. And again, you can watch the video on my blog. You know, Neal Schon has even said that he would like to get back together and do an R&B album. You have always said, I will never be in Journey if it's called Journey. It seems like with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, there's been some healing, nice words have been exchanged. Is that something that maybe would close a huge chapter to you to actually work with a guy like that again?
Well, you know, it's taken me so many years of being absent, like 30 years, to actually find my passion for music, because you've got to understand that I never thought it would come back. And I was okay with that. If it didn't, I'd already lived the dream of dreams. So right now, I am so committed and supporting and protecting the passion of the music I have found, which I have recorded and put on this record. That's where my heart is right now. And that's all I can really talk about.
Great. What about seeing Steve live in the future? Is there what's the plan as you make this forward? A lot of times these guys put out these year plans. Are we going to see you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, at this point, we're just talking about the record. And
just say yes, will you?
No,
just say yes.
I can't really.
Oh.
We've talked about it, but we haven't got that far yet.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm just telling you, do it. I'm going to wrestle you to the ground and get you to commit, because we do miss you, and it's just great to hear your voice. And I'm so happy that you've been on the air with us today. Welcome
thank
back.
you so much. I really appreciate it. And say hi, everybody on the coast.
That is very kind of you. Going old school with the coast. Steve Perry here on Coast 103.5. You can pick up his album October 5th. It is called Traces. The song Erasing is right now for download or purchase. Steve Perry is back. Thanks for listening to Coast 103.5. Really appreciate it. Enjoy this.